What really interests me, what is so fascinating, I think, is the obvious fact that when people suffer mental distress of any sort, and this is particularly true of depression, it's because fundamental emotional needs are not being met in their life, what we call the human givens, the essentials, like the need to feel connected to other people, the need to have meaningful work, the need to be stretched, the need to feel secure, and the need to get meaning by being stretched in life. Why is it that depression arises when those needs aren't being met?
Well, you're quite right, Ivan, in saying that it is impossible to have mental illness whilst your needs are being met in balance. So if somebody is depressed or indeed having any other form of mental illness, we can categorically state their needs are not being satisfactorily met in balance. Now, when a person's emotional needs are not being met, the person inevitably starts to ruminate and to worry and to think about how can they get their life sorted. And this can lead to very, very high levels of autonomic arousal. That is, that their nervous system can get very, very agitated. And when that happens, it unbalances their night's sleep. We know that when depressed people are brought into the sleep laboratory and their sleep patterns are looked at, that they have an imbalance between what is called slow wave sleep, which re-energizes our brain, and dream sleep. In a normal, healthy person, the first part of the night is given over primarily to slow wave, restorative type sleep, whereas in clinical depression, we find that that part of the sleep portion is literally skipped and the person goes very quickly into intense periods of dreaming.
Well, of course, in a normal, healthy person, you'd expect to see a proportion of roughly a quarter of the night spent in REM dream sleep, and the rest of the sleep period, 3/4 of the sleep, in recuperative slow wave sleep. Is it true then that the REM sleep uses more energy?
The REM sleep burns a lot of extra energy in the brain, but it's not just simply physical energy. In REM sleep, you're turning off the emotional arousals left over from the previous day that haven't been acted out. And these are acted out in our dreams. And if we do an excessive amount of turning off these emotional arousals, we wake up with a brain that's not just simply calmed down, but that may actually have no arousal left in it. The brain may actually be exhausted when the patient wakes up. The patient then finds that they can't take an interest in anything, that none of their normal activities arouse their interest or indeed promise even a hint of pleasure for them. They wake up, in other words, feeling shattered. And for a depressed patient, this is usually the worst time of the day for them.
Yes, I've noticed doing therapy with hundreds of depressed people that is the commonality amongst all of them. They report being tired more or less all the time, but particularly in the mornings. Not only that, but completely unmotivated. And what interests me is that the knowledge that this is connected with dreaming and the fact that the orientation response, as it's called in dreaming, is firing off. And that same orientation response is needed in the daytime to orientate us to do anything, is why that motivation ceases to be there for them.
That's absolutely right, Ivan. And interestingly, when scientists wake people up in the sleep laboratory who are depressed at the start of their dream periods so that they are not allowed to dream, the vast majority of them are not depressed the next day. So we do know that it's the REM sleep and the intensity of the REM sleep and the amount of REM sleep they're having in proportion to slow wave sleep that's doing the damage. It is causing their brain to be exhausted and unmotivated. We also know, of course, now for the very first time, why they are having this unbalanced sleep pattern, and that it relates back to the worrying they're doing the day before. In a nutshell, today's worry is tomorrow's depression. And that's one of the points where we can intervene and really help people get out of depression quickly. Because if we can get them to worry less, to focus their attention outwards, they will actually have a better quality sleep tonight, and they will wake up more motivated following morning.
But why should worry make an impact on people's dreaming?
Because dreaming is caused by emotionally aroused expectations that haven't been acted out in the environment. And worrying causes massive emotional autonomic arousal that isn't completed and switched off by acting it out in the environment. And hence it gets acted out in the dreams through metaphorical pattern matching. And that burns up a lot of energy in the brain. It fires a massive amount of orientation responses, which, as you rightly say, is the mechanism that keeps us interested in life whilst we're awake.